president did not see coming. Not on a football pitch, not inside a stadium. In courtrooms, government offices, and corridors of institutional power across 3 continents. A coordinated challenge to the organization that has the world's most popular sport for over a century is quietly gathering strength. For the first time in modern football history, the pressure is not coming from one rival organization or one group of critics. It is coming from governments, legal institutions, consumer organizations, and football supporters, all at the same time. Stay with us, because what is happening behind the scenes could reshape the future of football itself. To understand this story, we first need to understand what FIFA really is. Beyond the World Cup, the opening ceremonies, and the celebrations, FIFA is the governing body of world football, made up of 211 national member associations. Every country gets exactly 1 vote at the FIFA Congress, regardless of its population or footballing success. Over the years, FIFA has strengthened its influence through the FIFA Forward program, which distributes millions of dollars to national football associations for development projects. Supporters say it helps grow football worldwide. Critics argue that it has also become one of FIFA's most powerful political tools under Gianni Infantino. The program expanded significantly. He was re-elected without opposition in 2019 and again in 2023. Now, he is preparing to seek another term, with no serious challenger currently in sight. From the outside, FIFA appears stronger than ever. But beyond the headlines and trophy ceremonies, a different story is beginning to unfold. Legal complaints are being filed before the first whistle of the 2026 World Cup had even echoed across North America. FIFA was already facing battles far away from the stadiums, not from rival football organizations, but from ordinary supporters, consumer rights groups, and government officials who believe the game's biggest tournament had become too expensive for the fans who made it famous. In Europe, Football Supporters Europe joined forces with consumer advocacy groups to file a formal complaint with the European Commission. Their accusation was simple but powerful. They argued that FIFA was abusing its dominant position by allowing ticket prices to reach levels that many lifelong supporters could never afford. According to the complaint, some World Cup final tickets were priced at several times the cost of comparable seats at previous tournaments. Fans also criticized the extremely limited number of low-cost tickets, claiming that by the time general sales opened, the cheapest seats had virtually disappeared. The complaint demanded major reforms. It called for greater transparency, an end to pricing practices that inflated costs, and clearer information about ticket availability before each sales phase. FIFA responded by saying it had not officially received the complaint and defended its ticketing process. But Europe was only the beginning. Across the Atlantic, pressure was also building in the United States. Officials in several states began examining FIFA's ticketing practices after thousands of complaints from supporters who felt they had been priced out of football's biggest event. Politicians questioned whether the World Cup, a tournament meant to unite fans from around the globe, was slowly becoming an event reserved only for those who could afford premium prices. For FIFA, this was an unfamiliar challenge. It was no longer just journalists or rival organizations asking difficult questions. Governments, regulators, and fan organizations were beginning to speak with one voice. To understand why FIFA is under so much pressure today, we need to go back to one of the most important legal decisions in modern football history. In December 2023, the Court of Justice of the European Union delivered a ruling that sent shockwaves through world football. The court concluded that FIFA and UEFA had exceeded the limits of their authority when they threatened clubs with sanctions for attempting to create the European Super League. The decision did not mean that the Super League had won. In fact, The project itself gradually collapsed as most clubs withdrew and support disappeared. But the court's judgment left behind something far more significant than the competition itself. It established a legal precedent. For the first time, Europe's highest court made it clear that FIFA's power is not unlimited. It ruled that when an organization controls access to international competitions while also deciding who is allowed to create rival tournaments, that power must comply with competition law. That single judgment changed the conversation. Instead of asking whether FIFA was making good or bad decisions, legal experts began asking a different question altogether. Should any organization have this much control over world football? That question is now at the center of new legal complaints and political debates across Europe. Unlike previous controversies, this challenge is not coming from club owners seeking more money or football executives fighting for influence. It is coming from institutions outside football, courts, regulators, consumer organizations, and governments that are examining whether FIFA's structure itself needs reform. For decades, FIFA operated with very little external oversight. Today, that reality is beginning to change. The legal foundation that once protected FIFA's authority is now being tested in ways never seen before. And if more courts follow the same reasoning, the consequences could extend far beyond ticket prices or tournament organization. They could reshape the future of football governance itself. The pressure on FIFA did not begin with ticket prices. It began with a court ruling that challenged the very foundation of its authority. In December 2023, the Court of Justice of the European Union ruled that FIFA and UEFA had acted against European competition law when they threatened clubs over the proposed European Super League. Although the Super League project eventually collapsed, the legal decision remained. For the first time, a major court declared that football's governing bodies could not exercise unlimited control over the sport. That ruling has since become the basis for new legal and political challenges, raising serious questions about FIFA's monopoly and whether its power should face greater oversight in the years ahead.